What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Thursday, March 20th. Republicans have yet to provide President Biden with their proposal for the infrastructure package. President Biden gave them initially until Tuesday. They're already over 1 day late, so we will see when President Biden does get it. We also know that in addition to the 22 states currently canceling their unemployment benefits early, many more are currently considering this as well if the numbers come in as projected. Today, we actually received the new jobless claims, and they came in lower than what many people were expecting, but that is actually some good news and some bad news, and I'll address that in a minute. We know the Senate is working on a bipartisan bill for aid and accountability into the United States Postal Service. Today, President Biden will sign the Asian American hate crime bill, and President Biden recently received a letter from 7 Democrats that are asking him and pretty much urging him to include additional unemployment benefits and recurring stimulus checks into his American Families Plan. So there's a lot going on right now, but let's get right into it. What we know is that the GOP is pretty much stalling, and they're trying to delay the inevitable. We know the infrastructure package is going to pass. If it doesn't pass through bipartisan support, it will pass through something called a budget reconciliation. We know Democrats want this to be right around $4.1 trillion. That's what currently President Biden wants. Some Democrats say this is too much. Some say it's too little. And we know Republicans say it's way too much. It needs to be closer to $600 to $1 trillion. We know President Biden gave the GOP until Tuesday to submit their version of the infrastructure package, but they missed that by more than a day so far. Now Democrats are urging President Biden to just stop negotiating with Republicans. Let's just forget about it. There's no point to negotiate. We're not going to get a bipartisan deal here. Let's just go forward with another budget reconciliation. This is exactly why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer fought and tried to work with the Senate parliamentarian to get their pretty much the okay that they can do another budget reconciliation. He got that. That was over a month ago. That was probably about 2 months ago now. And so many Democrats are saying we wasted all this time. We could have already been putting some of this stuff into place. However, now we waste all this time just dealing with Republicans. And so some are saying let's just forget about it. Now, if Republicans have the votes to pass the $4.1 trillion stimulus package or infrastructure package bill, then right now some are saying that they should do it. If it means going through a budget reconciliation, fine, so be it. That's what we're hearing. But then experts say that it would be their best shot right now, or at least if we get this infrastructure package, that would be their best shot to include additional unemployment benefits and to include a stimulus check. Right now, there's a lot of talks on unemployment, there's a lot of talks on stimulus checks, and there's a lot of talks on infrastructure. But what we're not getting is, can we combine all three of those together? But we're not getting those talks from Nancy Pelosi, from Senator Schumer, or from the Biden administration. Those are the three groups, okay? Nancy Pelosi in the House, Chuck Schumer in the Senate, and then obviously you got the Biden administration, the White House. Those are the three different kind of groups that we need to get on board, and that's the issue that we're having right now. Is there's really no discussions on can we get unemployment benefits, stimulus checks, and infrastructure all tied together, and some are saying we can. Okay, and this is where this group of 7 lawmakers comes in, because on Monday, this group of 7 lawmakers sent a letter to President Biden urging him to include stimulus checks and unemployment benefits into his American Families Plan. They stated that direct payments and enhanced UI are amongst the most effective forms of relief available. And many experts would agree with this statement. I've told you this before. I'm a firm believer. Unemployment benefits, if we did not have the unemployment benefits that we have now for self-employed individuals and the $300 per week boost, the economy would be in shambles. It would be struggling more than it is right now. Okay? I also am a firm believer that stimulus checks should not be done we should still be getting some form of stimulus. Now, I don't mean every single person in the United States. I'm not talking about people that make, $500,000 per year. I'm talking about those that are making under, $50,000, $100,000 per year should be getting a stimulus check to ensure that they are not negatively impacted by the rise of, the cost of goods, gasoline, rents, and things like that. But again, I'm not a lawmaker. I'm just a guy on YouTube that reports all the details, all the information that we're currently hearing from our lawmakers, from our congressmen and women. That's what I'm trying to do. Now, in this letter, okay, they also go on to say 6 in 10 people reported that the stimulus checks will last less than 3 months. I mentioned this probably about 2 months ago, where lawmakers were saying that their goal with the $1,400 checks is to make sure they last at least 3 months. Well, 6 in 10 people say they will last less than 3 months. When I asked you guys down in the comment section to let me know how long your $1,400 stimulus checks lasted, the most common answer was, I already spent it. It was gone within the first week. Some say it was gone within the first day. Okay, so that's the issue, is that these checks, 6 in 10 people say they last less than 3 months. Okay, and being that these checks got sent out on March 14th, okay, 3 months. See, March, we got April 14th, May 14th, June 14th. So we have less than 1 month where some of these people, 6 in 10 people are going to even have any money. That's huge. And the problem with this is that on June 14th, that is 2 days after, some states are going to be canceling their unemployment benefits. That's also about a week before other states are going to be canceling their unemployment benefits. So the issue is that if you live in one of these 22 states as of right now, you are not only going to be running out of your stimulus check if you haven't already, but you're also going to lose your unemployment benefits if you're currently on unemployment. That's a big issue. Now, this morning, we got the new jobless claims numbers. They came out. This number will most likely cause more Republican-led states to cancel their unemployment benefits a little bit earlier than expected. What we saw last week was 478,000 new jobless claims come in. Well, we were expected to see this drop again. I can't remember the exact expected number, but I do believe we surpassed that because we actually came in at 444,000 new jobless claims, which is 34,000 less than last week, which is actually very good. So what we know right now is that these lower numbers are a sign that jobs are starting to come back, but the main takeaway with this exact number is that the employers are not letting people go as quickly as they were during the height of the pandemic. So that is actually good news, that instead of letting some employees go because they don't need them anymore, or things are reopening and they're shifting their focus, or they're going to outsource, right? What we're seeing is less people are being let go. That is great news. That is what we need to see. But in that same kind of scenario, we don't just want to see people holding on to the jobs that they have, but we also want to see the people that are currently on unemployment going back into the workforce, going back in, and so our total unemployment rate, our numbers start dropping as well. That's what we want to see, but we want to see a steady decline. We don't want to see a big drop, because that will be detrimental. That'll be bad for the economy, just because that will show that we have a very hot market, a hot economy, and it's overheating. So we don't want that. Now, here's one thing I want to say. We also know that a lot of businesses at this time cannot get their employees back under the same salary. Now, I smile because, and I think this is pretty good for a lot of people. As a business owner, this isn't great, but again, I'm not going to pay my employees minimum wage. Okay, so if you are part of a business, or you're employed by a business, or you were employed by a business that was paying you minimum wage, here's what you need to understand. Many businesses are reporting that employees won't come back to their job unless they make X amount of dollars per hour. And X amount of dollars is usually going to be, $2 to $3 more than what they're making previously. So the upside to all this is that employees now have the leverage to work out a better salary with their employers. And the reason I smile about this is because I knew this was going to happen. I told you guys this probably a few months ago, where I said that you have all the leverage. If the employer wants you back, don't just go back into work. Don't just go back into work under the exact same salary that you're making before. If you are worried about contracting COVID, you're worried about being overworked, okay, you were underpaid, don't go back into that same, awful situation. You have the leverage now. So demand from your employer, okay, I'm not going to come in for, $10 an hour any longer. That's not going to happen. No. You got to pay me $12.50 an hour if you want me to come back in. I will come back in today. Guess what? Employers, they pretty much just have to fold, give in, and give you your demands because you have all the leverage. But here's what you need to understand. Some experts say this leverage will completely go away once the unemployment benefits in your state expire. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is one of the reasons why I keep telling you which states are going to lose their unemployment benefits and around which dates, because you want to make sure you have a job secured before then. You're actually working. You're locked in on a certain rate, because if you are not, the issue here, okay, the big issue here is that the employer will regain all that leverage as soon as you lose your benefits. As soon as you lose your benefits, you lose all your leverage. Okay, so that's what experts are saying, is so go and get a job right now. Use the leverage you have to increase your pay. That's what experts are saying. Now, while we are talking about pay, let's get back into what the letter to President Biden stated on Monday. And the letter stated, and I quote, "In the American Families Plan, you pledge to work with Congress to automatically adjust the length and amount of unemployment insurance benefits unemployed workers receive depending on economic conditions. We welcome this opportunity, but urge you to prioritize automatic unemployment insurance extensions and recurring direct payments tied to economic conditions." Now, I brought this up multiple times, and I'm going to continue to kind of hammer this home. What we are seeing is that a lot of lawmakers don't just want additional unemployment benefits, don't just want an additional stimulus check. They want these two benefits tied to the economic conditions. This is exactly what the Problem Solvers Caucus proposed back in September, and lawmakers did not go forward with their proposal, which in my opinion I thought was great. I thought this was incredible. This was a really good idea. Tie the current benefits or the future benefits to the at that time economic conditions. And this would be beneficial for stimulus checks, because right now we don't know if over the summer we see additional variants of COVID. We see maybe the United States doesn't get into herd immunity like many people are projecting. And what if we see another wave of cases come over the fall and winter? If this is the case and we go back into another partial lockdown, which I honestly don't see that happening, but if we did, and again, we don't know, but if we did do that, then we'd have this covered, because we would know, okay, well, we're going into another partial lockdown. This means, no, we don't get $300 per week on unemployment benefits, but we'll get an additional $100, and self-employed workers will receive this as well. And then on top of that, if we are, getting this, cases coming up again, or the unemployment rate is starting to spike again in our state, we'll get an additional stimulus check. Okay? But in addition to that, some lawmakers are saying, well, this pandemic wasn't planned. Okay? Well, according to reports, who knows if it was planned by other people or another country. But what we know at this time, 100%, is this isn't something that we were expecting. This isn't something that we could plan for the past year or 2 years ago now. This wasn't something that we were thinking was going to happen. But now that lawmakers know, and now that the American people realize stuff like this could happen eventually, maybe this happens more frequently than every 100 years. And if this is the case, we need to plan for that. This is where tying economic conditions to certain benefits makes sense, not just for pandemics, okay, but for a financial crisis. Do you think unemployment benefits would have been crucial, would have been been very helpful back in 2008, 2009, when we went through that housing crisis and that financial crisis? I guarantee you it would have. when unemployment started to spike, people were just getting let go. Every single day they're losing jobs. Hundreds of thousands of people losing jobs, right? That would have been a very good idea to tie in unemployment benefits and possibly a boost to the economic conditions back then. Now lawmakers and multiple lawmakers are saying this is what we need to do now. I think we are going to get somewhere with this. I think something will be tied to economic conditions, but again, those are just my thoughts. And let me know your thoughts and what they are down in the comment section below. But right now, there are a lot of discussions on recurring stimulus checks, but tying those recurring stimulus checks to economic conditions. Now, I can tell you right now, 100%, if we do not tie recurring stimulus checks to economic conditions, in my opinion, there is absolutely no way those would actually get passed. They would be too expensive. But if you look at the expense of a recurring stimulus check, let's say even $250 a month, versus what would happen if we lose our jobs, what would happen if we lose our houses, what would happen if we pretty much go into another economic crisis, what would happen then, right? So which one would be more expensive? That's kind of where lawmakers are going at this time. Now, they ended this letter by stating the two forms of payments also work in tandem. While unemployment insurance replaces lost income for those out of work, direct payments are crucial for supporting struggling families that fall out of its reach. This includes the millions of workers that do not qualify for unemployment insurance after having their hours reduced, switching to lower paying jobs, or temporarily leaving the workforce to care for family members. And this is something that we have stated on this channel multiple times before, is a lot of people, they lose their job, but they don't go and get unemployment benefits. What they do is they go get a different job. They switch to a lower paying job. They lose some of their hours. Well, in those instances, they would not qualify for unemployment benefits. So instead of getting unemployment benefits and getting the additional $300 per week to put them back up to kind of what they're making before, they're actually taking a pay cut in order to work. So again, hats off to those people. But as far as the financial side of things, they would have been better off just claiming unemployment benefits. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And all of this right now, all these lawmakers are asking President Biden just to consider adding these two pieces of legislation into his American Families Plan. They say that many people do like this plan. They do support it. Many lawmakers support it. Many Democrats and Republicans support this as well. Now, what I can tell you is that in this report, it said I think like 60% of Republicans support this idea of tying the unemployment benefits and the stimulus checks to economic conditions. I honestly don't think it's 60% of all Republicans, okay? I'm 100% sure on that one. But I think it is possibly 60% of maybe Republicans in the Senate. They might support something like this, tying benefits to economic conditions, but they don't specify that it's recurring stimulus checks or unemployment benefits, including the $300 per week, because that's something that currently the GOP does not support. So just keep that in mind. If you were to read this letter, that's kind of where you're going to get it. Obviously is coming. It's kind of biased towards Democrats because all these lawmakers are Democrats. So that's what we know at this time. But right now, here's what I can tell you. They're urging President Biden to put this in his American Families Plan. The problem is right now the infrastructure package is taking a big hit. We know many Democrats still oppose this for multiple reasons. We know all Republicans oppose this because of the sheer size and coverage of this infrastructure package, and some say it's not really infrastructure, and then progressives say it's not even big enough. So who knows whether we see this pass or not. My guess is it will pass eventually. However, I don't know if we see this pass before July 4th. Honestly, after everything we were seeing and hearing, how the economy's doing, and my guess is, come July or even in June, honestly, so in a couple weeks, when we see the new unemployment figures, when we see the new jobless claims and stuff like that, what we're going to see is there's going to be a lot more updates. There's probably be more bills, more talks on, well, this is what we need to do. We need to go this route as opposed to taking this path. So we will see what happens there. But as we get more information on what's going on regarding bipartisan support, a budget reconciliation, infrastructure, stimulus, inflation, and everything in between, I promise I will keep you updated on all that information. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Thursday evening. Okay, have a wonderful week. And I will see you guys on the next one.